I never imagined that a journey that felt like a major failure would actually open my eyes to the most precious things in life. For years, I'd been chasing what I thought would make me happy, never stopping to see what was already within my grasp. I'd always thought that happiness lay at the end of my rope, in the pile of things I'd bought, or in the praise others had for what I'd achieved. Until, in an instant, everything changed, and I was forced to stop somewhere I never imagined.
I used to always feel like what I had wasn't enough, whether it was money, success, or anything I could see and measure with numbers. Whenever I achieved what I wanted, the feeling of satisfaction was short-lived, and then the desire for more would return. I compared myself to others, feeling like they had better, more beautiful, and more deserving of a happy life. I thought that if I could achieve all that, my heart would finally be at peace and I would never feel lacking again. I worked as hard as I could, often forgetting to rest, and sometimes even forgetting the people around me because I was so busy pursuing that goal. I thought the sacrifice was worth it because one day I would be able to enjoy the results with satisfaction and without regret. Friends and family had told me to take a break, but I listened half-heartedly, thinking they didn't understand what I wanted. My heart felt full of desire, yet deep down there was an empty space that seemed impossible to fill with anything I tried. Until finally, the day I'd been waiting for arrived. I achieved everything I'd always dreamed of, even more than I'd ever imagined. People praised and congratulated me, and I heard many kind words that made me feel proud of what I'd accomplished. But strangely, as I stood at the summit I'd always desired, I didn't feel the happiness I should have felt there. The emptiness only grew more pronounced, as if I'd climbed a high mountain only to discover that there was nothing at the top. I tried to maintain my happiness, thinking maybe I just needed time to get used to this new situation and enjoy everything I had. I traveled to beautiful places, bought things I'd only seen from afar, and did things I'd once dreamed of. But that feeling never came. Every time I tried to feel satisfied, all I got was boredom and the same questions repeating themselves in my head. I started to wonder if perhaps I had gone the wrong way, or if I didn't understand what I really needed.
Before I could find an answer to that question, fate seemed to test me further, and bad things began to come one after another without warning. At first, they were just small problems I could overcome, but over time they grew larger and came with a force I couldn't resist. I lost many of the things I'd worked so hard to build, things I thought would guarantee my future happiness. The world I'd so carefully tried to build slowly crumbled before my eyes, and I felt powerless to stop it. In a very short time, I was back to having nothing. Even the things I considered most important were gone. I felt utterly ashamed and hopeless, thinking that all my efforts were in vain, and that I had become a failure in everyone's eyes. I distanced myself from everyone, refusing to speak to friends or family, and choosing to live alone in a small, simple house on the outskirts of the village. Every day I just sat there, bemoaning my fate, wondering why all this had to happen to me, even though I tried so hard. There were times when I didn't even want to get out of bed, feeling like there was no reason to continue the day because everything seemed meaningless. I spent hours just staring at the ceiling, wondering what was wrong with me and why I couldn't keep what I had. The loneliness was overwhelming, as if I was walking alone in endless darkness with no light to turn to. I began to forget what it felt like to smile. Even the little things that once brought me joy no longer mattered to me. One day, I was forced to leave the house because my food supplies were running out, and I had to walk quite a distance to reach the small village market. My steps felt heavy, as if a heavy weight was binding my feet, and I walked with my head down, not daring to look at anyone I met. The path felt longer than usual, a cold wind blowing against my face, but I didn't notice it much because my heart felt so much colder. I thought this short journey would just be another tiring experience for me, but I never imagined it would change everything. On the way, I met an old farmer sitting under a large tree, taking a break from his work in the fields. He didn't seem to have much. His clothes were simple and patched, his face was lined with wrinkles, but his eyes radiated a calm and peaceful light. When he saw me pass, he smiled kindly and greeted me in a gentle voice, inviting me to stop for a moment to share a glass of cold water he had brought. I was surprised by his friendliness, as I looked so disheveled and gloomy, yet he looked at me as if we had known each other for a long time.
As I drank the refreshing water, I finally couldn't hold back my sadness any longer and told him what had happened to me.
I talked about everything I'd lost, how disappointed I was in myself, and the constant emptiness in my heart. I told him that I felt like my life was completely destroyed, and I didn't know how to recover from this situation. He listened quietly, without interrupting me, his eyes looking at me with understanding, as if he'd felt the same way. After I finished speaking, the old farmer paused for a moment, staring at the distant fields, then turned to me and smiled gently. He said that he'd been through similar times, feeling that what he had wasn't enough, and feeling devastated when he lost something he considered important. But over time, he realized that we often misunderstand what our hearts truly need to feel calm and happy. He said that we often run after a shadow, only to be disappointed when we realize that it's something we can never hold forever. He then asked me, had I ever felt hungry and still managed to eat a simple piece of bread with pleasure right then and there? Had I ever felt tired and yet still managed to rest peacefully on a soft, dry bed? Had I ever felt sad and yet still been able to see the beauty of the sky, breathe the fresh air, and feel my own heartbeat? He said that these things are the most precious things, but we often forget to be grateful because we are too busy wanting more. Those words penetrated my heart, and for the first time in a long time, I began to think differently. I remembered that even though I had lost so much, I could still breathe, I could still walk, and I could still see the beauty around me. I still had a healthy body, I could still feel sadness and joy, and I still had time to fix what needed fixing. All of these things I often took for granted, but they were truly a tremendous and priceless gift. As I parted from the old farmer and continued my journey to the market, my steps felt a little lighter than before. I didn't have all the answers I was looking for right away, but one thing was clear: I had been defining the word enough wrong. I'd always thought enough meant having more and more, but it turns out enough is being able to wholeheartedly appreciate what's already in front of you. I walked home with that new perspective and couldn't wait to see what else I'd learned from this journey.
When I arrived home, I didn't go straight to my room as usual, but instead paused for a moment in the modest front yard. I stared at the trees standing tall, the grass growing wildly between the paving stones, and the small flowers blooming in the corner of the wooden fence. I'd often passed this place without really noticing it, as if the things around me were just insignificant background. But today, everything seemed different, alive, peaceful, and filled with a beauty I'd never noticed before. That evening, I sat by the small fireplace in the living room, gazing at the flames dancing in the stone hearth. I stopped dwelling on what I'd lost, but instead began to count the things I still had left to enjoy. I had a roof to protect me from the rain and wind, firewood to keep me warm, and clean water to drink at any time. These things seem so simple, but if any of them were missing, I would surely realize how much they meant to me. The next morning, I woke not with anxiety about tomorrow, but to the sound of birds chirping merrily in the tree branches near the window. I opened the window wide, breathing in the cool, humid morning air, feeling how refreshing it felt against my skin. The sun had just risen from behind the hill, casting a golden glow that illuminated every dewdrop clinging to the green leaves. For the first time in a long time, I smiled sincerely, without any burden weighing me down. I decided to tend to my neglected yard, pulling weeds and planting the vegetable seeds I'd bought at the market yesterday. I worked quietly, enjoying the feel of the damp soil between my fingers and feeling a pleasant fatigue in every movement of my body. In the past, I would have considered this kind of work menial and a waste of time, but today it felt like a blessing that I could use my energy for something tangible. Each time I planted a seed, I sincerely hoped that it would grow strong and provide benefits in the future. That afternoon, I cooked a simple meal using just a few vegetables and a slice of bread, sliced thinly. I ate slowly, chewing each bite mindfully, savoring the natural savory flavors of the vegetables and the subtle sweetness of the bread. In the past, I often ate quickly, thinking about work, or even threw away food because it didn't taste good, even though many people crave it. Now I understand that the feeling of fullness and enjoyment of simple food is one of the most basic yet most precious joys. A few days later, I walked back to the field where I had met the old farmer, hoping to thank him again. This time, I didn't walk with my head down, but rather I enjoyed every sight along the path. I saw colorful wildflowers, heard the trickling sound of water from a small ditch, and felt the breeze gently caress my face. The anxiety and heaviness that had accompanied my every step slowly faded, replaced by a sense of calm. I found the old farmer repairing his fence, and he smiled broadly as he saw me approach. He greeted me like an old friend, as if he'd been waiting for me to return and share my feelings. We sat together on a pile of dry straw, and I told him all the changes that had occurred within me since that day. He listened intently, occasionally nodding slowly, as if he knew exactly what I was going through. He then told me that he once owned more land and a bigger house, but they had all been lost in a natural disaster many years ago. At that time, he also felt like the world had ended, blaming fate and feeling it was unfair to have to bear all the loss alone. But over time, he realized that land and buildings are merely things that can be taken away at any time. But gratitude and peace of mind can never be taken away by anyone. He said that true wealth is not what we store in a warehouse, but what we possess in our own hearts. Slowly, I began to realize that my biggest mistake was defining my worth based on what I could achieve and hold. I thought the more I had, the more valuable I would be in the eyes of others and in my own. Yet my worth hadn't diminished in the slightest when I lost it all. I remained the same person with the same heart, capable of feeling and giving love. Worldly things are merely temporary garments, not part of our true souls. As the days passed peacefully, I began visiting my neighbors in the village, sharing the produce of my vegetable garden and listening to their stories. I realized that almost everyone here had their own problems and sorrows, yet they still smiled and helped each other sincerely. They didn't have abundant wealth, but their faces looked calmer and happier than the people I used to know in the big city. Here, I learned that happiness doesn't come from what we possess, but from how we relate to others and to ourselves.
There are times when I still remember the past, but it no longer feels like a sword piercing my heart, but rather like a valuable lesson. I no longer regret what happened, because without those events, I would never have stopped and recognized my mistakes. Every wound and every loss has brought me closer to the truth I've been searching for in the wrong places. Now I know that the steep and dark paths often lead us to the most peaceful and true places. I've also begun to realize that the word enough isn't a limit that stops us from trying or dreaming. Enough means knowing when to stop pursuing excess and start enjoying what we already have wholeheartedly. We can still strive to improve ourselves and do good, but we're no longer burdened by the feeling of having more than others. A heart that feels enough is a heart that is free. Free from envy, free from fear of loss, and free to enjoy every second of life. Sometimes people ask me if I wouldn't want to have what I once had back, and I answer that I wouldn't refuse it if it came back. But I no longer desire it with all my heart and soul, and I no longer make it a requirement for happiness. Whatever comes, I welcome it with gratitude, and whatever goes, I let go with an open heart, because I know it's all temporary. Now I have a treasure that will never be lost, inner peace and an understanding of the true meaning of life. I realize that this journey isn't over. There's still much to learn, and many other facets of the word enough that I need to digest. But this time, I no longer walk in a hurry, no longer with fear or a feeling of inadequacy in my heart. I walk slowly, savoring each step, taking in every sight, and giving thanks for every breath I can still take. I finally found what I'd been searching for, not at the end of the world, but within myself, as I learned to be content.
Time has passed, and I've lived in that small village for many years, making this humble home my most comfortable home. My body is now showing signs of age, fine lines appearing at the corners of my eyes, and my steps are no longer as agile as before. But my heart feels younger and lighter. I no longer think about how far I've come or how much I've achieved, but simply strive to be a good person every day. Now I know that the true measure of life isn't how much we take, but how much we give with a sincere heart. Every morning I wake with gratitude, knowing that there's still a new day waiting for me to live with kindness. I water the plants, cook a simple meal, then walk slowly to the fields to greet my old farmer friend, now very old, but still strong at work. We often sit for hours in silence, enjoying the breeze or talking about small things that delight the heart, without worrying about the uncertain future. We both agree that true happiness is being able to enjoy the present moment, this second, with all that it holds. I used to think that being content meant giving up dreaming or no longer striving to be better than yesterday, but now I understand that being content is a state of calm in our heart, one that keeps us striving but is no longer tied to the outcome we desire. I still want to plant trees, help neighbors, and learn new things, but I'm no longer sad if the results don't meet our expectations, because I know that every sincere effort is worthwhile, regardless of whether we get the reward we desire. Many people come to visit this village, asking how they can achieve the peace we feel. They often say their lives are too busy, too full of worries, and that they always feel like something is missing, even though they have everything. I always answer that the answer isn't in distant places or expensive objects, but rather in our habit of seeing what's already right in front of us. Try to pause, take a deep breath, and count the small things you can still enjoy today.
You have breath that still blows. You have a body that can move. You have people who love you, even if you sometimes forget to see it. You have eyes that can see the beauty of the world, ears that can hear the sounds of nature, and a heart that can feel affection. All of these things are priceless treasures, far more valuable than piles of gold or luxuries that only the eyes can see. If you can sincerely appreciate these things, you will realize that you already have everything you need to be happy. I also once thought that happiness meant having more than others, being richer, more successful, and more praised. But experience has taught me that happiness is being content with what you have, while simultaneously striving to share it so that others can experience it too. The insatiable feeling of lack is a prison we build ourselves, with a door that is locked from the inside. We only need to stop wanting too much, and the door will open on its own to true freedom of the heart. Sometimes life presents us with difficult trials, painful losses, or dead ends that leave us despairing. But believe me, behind every event there's a meaning that life is trying to convey to us, even if we can't see it right now. Just like I had to lose everything first, only then did I realize that I actually had everything that mattered. Painful things are often life's way of diverting us from the wrong path onto a more peaceful path. Now I no longer compare my life to others, because I know everyone has their own path and measure of happiness. What's enough for me may seem too little for someone else, and what they need may not be the same as what I need. There's no right or wrong standard. What matters is that your heart feels calm and at peace with what you're going through. Comparing yourself to others will only waste time and heartache without ever providing the answers you seek.
I've learned to love the little things, the sound of boiling water in the morning, the scent of the earth after rain, the smile a neighbor greets me with when I pass them on the street. These things aren't written in the books of success. They can't be measured with numbers, and they can't be bought with any amount of money. But these little things are what make up true happiness, like a small seed that slowly grows into a large tree that soothes the heart. If you're only busy looking for big things, you'll miss the thousands of small joys that surround you every day. My life now is no longer filled with the hustle and bustle or luxury of its former glory, but it feels far richer and more meaningful than ever. I have time to rest, time to share, time to reflect, and time to simply enjoy the peaceful silence. True wealth, it turns out, is time that we can use according to our heart's desire, without being bound by fear or anxiety. And that time will continue to flow, inviting us to continue growing into wiser and more compassionate individuals. Sometimes I wonder, if I hadn't lost everything, would I ever have reached the understanding I have today? Maybe I would have kept running endlessly, chasing a shadow I could never grasp, without ever stopping to see the beauty around me. So now I no longer hate those difficult days. Instead, I'm grateful to have gone through them, because that's where I found my way back to myself. Every wound eventually heals. Every loss is eventually replaced with a far more valuable understanding.
I want to tell you, as you're listening to this story, that you don't have to wait until you lose everything to start appreciating what you have. You don't have to wait until you're sick to realize the value of a healthy body, or until you're lonely to appreciate the people who love you. Start now.
Take a moment each day to be grateful for the little things you enjoy and feel the immensity of that gift. When you begin to feel enough, you'll realize that happiness is never far from you. It's always within your own heart. The meaning of the word enough is simple yet profound. It's the ability to see that what you have is more than enough for a happy life. It's freedom from feeling like someone else, freedom from the fear of not being enough, and freedom to walk your own path. It's not a boring stopover, but fertile ground where you can grow into a kinder, gentler, and wiser person. Enough isn't the end of the journey, but the beginning of a true journey toward eternal peace. Now I'm ready to move on with the rest of my life in peace, living each day with gratitude and compassion. I no longer demand that life give me more. I simply promise to take care of and share what I already have as best I can. I know that my time would eventually run out, but I no longer feel fear or regret because I have found the true meaning of life. And I hope this simple story can help you find the same meaning in your own life.
This is the story of my journey from someone who always felt inadequate to finally learning the true meaning of enough. It doesn't mean I no longer have desires or aspirations, but now I live them with a calm heart and unburdened by the results. Every day is a gift, every breath is a blessing, and every encounter is an opportunity to do good and share love. I hope you can feel the same peace wherever you are and whatever you're going through right now. Life doesn't always go as we plan, but it always leads to the most appropriate place for us to grow and learn. Sometimes we need to stop, look back, and see how many beautiful things we've experienced and gained. Enough is the key that unlocks the door to true happiness, a key that's been in our hands all along. We just often forget to use it. Have a good rest, enjoy your reflection, and may your heart always feel content, peaceful, and filled with love every day. May this story serve as a reminder to us all that happiness doesn't lie far away, but rather in a heart that is capable of gratitude. If there's a valuable lesson you learned today, treasure it and share that kindness with those around you. Thank you for taking the time to reflect and share this journey with me until the end. See you again in the next meaningful story, and may peace always be with you every step of the way.